Hi everybody, so we've just got the owls in the office at the moment, just having their first feed of the day. They're coming up to 3 weeks old now, doing well, eating about three to four chicks a day, and then a couple of mice as well. What we're feeding them here today is just chopped up mice with a few chicks in there as well, with a little bit of water on just to make sure it's staying nice and hydrated. Some of the equipment we use for imprinting owls here, they're just in a small cardboard box with a bit of natural foliage in and a heat lamp. That's just because it's been quite cold outside recently, so it's always good to have an alternative nest box for when you're cleaning out the imprint chamber. If you can't get a heat lamp or you don't have access to one, a hot water bottle wrapped in a blanket would be fine. So they're just going to enjoy having their breakfast, growing up nice and strong. Another note as well, guys, if you are keeping them indoors in your house or anything during the evening, make sure there's no like Febreze fragrances or them indoor air fresheners, or no one's spraying any deodorant around, because it is very toxic to birds of prey as well. So here you can see they're just in the office. Well, it's warming up outside in their little nest box, having their feed underneath the heat lamp, and then they're going to go outside in a bit in the imprint chamber as well. How's it going, Rebecca?
Yeah, very well. They're eating a good amount, nice and keen. They've just started taking their first steps today as well and walking around. Well, walking, I say that
Shuffling.
very loosely. They're stomping and falling over a bit, but...
Good. Oh. That one's a bit drunk. How many times are we feeding them at the minute?
So at the moment they're on 4 structured feeds a day. One in the morning, one towards midday, then in the mid-afternoon they get another, and then one just before I go to bed, which is always the most glamorous one.
Lovely.
You about full, guys? They usually like to have their first little bit in the morning and then they go for a quick snooze under the heat lamp.
Yeah, it has dropped cold again, hasn't it, at the minute?
It has, yeah.
Very cold. It was -1 again, I think, last night. I mean, I know people will be saying, oh, well, the wild live in this country, but they're like the heat lamp.
You're standing up over there.
I think they're full.
I think so too.
Excellent stuff. Well, we'll let them go for their morning nap and then we'll come back and feed them later. Oop.
Oh dear.
These are our imprint barn owls that we're training up this year to be part of our demos and experiences. They're about 7 weeks old now. Still coming home every single night, making a mess everywhere, wanting feeding all the time, but they're starting to get their full feathers down now. So over the last few weeks we've just been bringing them down, getting them used to the centre work. Hello. Getting used to seeing everything, the environment in which you're going to be flying in, the big aviary that they're going to be living in, and getting them used to everything down here at the centre as well. So as you can see, they're still quite downy at the minute. Hello. They've just had their morning feed, and they're coming on very well. Very confident little owls as well now. They've just learned how to walk over the last few days, so we'll see how long they stay in camera shot for. They're just starting to figure everything out, use their wings a little bit, and that one's going, yeah, that one's cleared off. Hello, you want to stay with me, don't you? You want to stay with me. So, in about a week, maybe 2 weeks, we're going to start getting their equipment on them and start getting them into their flying training. They're just being hand fed at the minute, still on like quail, mice, and all that good food to give them the energy to grow up. And yeah, they're coming on all right. Now they're being sort of taken off the heat lamp a fair bit, and the hot water bowls. They seem to be able to regulate their temperature very well. So we're just going to talk about the imprint chamber now. This is what they've been moved up to. Okay, so the imprint chambers are great, nice big perspex side, so they can see everything. So we can start taking them down to the centre, getting them used to seeing all the different sights and sounds down here, and let them have a stomp around and have a look around. Okay, so we're just about to clean this out. I'm just going to tell you what we're going to be doing. We'll clean this out every single day with a little bit of Virkon, not too much, so it's all hosed out. And then we put in fresh substrate every day. With these are just some conifer leaves and evergreen leaves as well, just so they can sit on something nice and comfy if they want to. So with these, we haven't cleaned this out yet. This AstroTurf just comes out. We're just going to clean that, hose it down, put it back in, fresh substrate, put the barn owls back in, and then we can let the public see them and all that good stuff as well. Like I say, on a night if it is still dropping cold, we will put a hot water bottle in here, wrapped up in a load of blankets or something like that, so they can walk over to it and sit if if it does drop a little bit cold. It's been lovely and sunny the last few days, so we've been absolutely fine. Or if you want to, get a heat lamp set up as well. So yeah, we're just going to clean this out, just hose it off, let it dry in the sun, and then we'll get them back in it and get all this new substrate in.
Yeah, alright guys, I'm just here cleaning out the imprint tank. I've just given it all a little spray down with some Virkon, and now I'm just giving it a bit of a hose and getting all the muck and things off, so it's nice and clean and hygienic for the young birds. Like Joe mentioned, we do this every day just to keep really on top of it and make sure everything is pretty much spotless. If not, they are horribly stinky. Leave that like that just to drain out and dry off, and that'll be good to go in an hour or so.
And there's the finished article, all cleaned with some fresh conifer leaves in the bottom.
Hi guys, I'm just here about to do a bit of food prep for our young imprint barn owls. We've got our meat grinder just here all set up and ready to go, and I've got a bit of a mixed bag of food for them today. I've got some day old chicks here, some mice, and I'm just about to do a bit of prep on the quail. So what we do is we tend to just take the feet and the wings off, just because they don't mince up very well, and with it being a smaller hole in the top, obviously we cut it down so it's a good size, and we tend to mince 2 or 3 different things all together so they get a really good mixed diet as well in there. So I'll just cut this up a little bit so it goes through a bit easier and a bit quicker. Probably take these guts out as well. And then I'll just section this up into a couple of bits. We do tend to leave the feather and things on just because they're getting a bit older now, so it gives them a little bit of casting material, obviously, which is good for them as they get into this older age. Right, so that should be good to go like that. Get my little selection out on here. A few chicks and just a few mice. And then all we do is we just put a nice empty bucket under here and then start running it all through. So it's all minced just because obviously with them being littler you want it to be nice and easy for them to digest. At this age we have got some castings in here, so there are little bits of bone and feather, but we find it's best to mince it, and then when you're feeding things like quail you've not got a massive bone that they've got to try and digest and form into their pellet, but they still do have that stuff in there that obviously helps them.
I bet it cuts down with wastage quite a lot, doesn't it?
It does cut down the wastage massively, because obviously you've not got to be there trying to pick all the big bits out and things like that, so we can use a lot more of the food instead of having to chuck any away, which obviously nobody really wants to do. And they do seem to really enjoy having the combination of the different things in there, so you're not just feeding them one set thing that they get used to, it's all different stuff in the little mince bits, so they get a really good variation at every single meal, instead of one meal being mice, one meal being chicks and one meal being something else. You can have that bit of variation in everything.
So you're just feeding them till they stop eating?
Yeah, so we don't have any kind of strict regime on how much they should eat at each feed. We literally feed them till they're not hungry anymore. At this point, I don't want to withhold any food from them because obviously they know how much they need to put towards their growing and things, so we don't like to hold any back. Obviously you don't want to overfeed, but we find that they all do self-regulate really well with how much they need, and they won't tend to keep eating unless they're hungry. Like, they're both now nice and full and they're not taking food from the hand anymore, so we'll just leave them at that, and then when they start shouting in a couple of hours, they'll probably get another little bit of food. But at this point, now they're getting older, they have got their structured meal times, and that one's gone off because after their meal time, it's now playtime. So they'll go for a good stomp round, use a bit of their energy. They're both growing up so quick, they're starting to lose all their little bits of down now. They're all over the place, especially in this bit of wind today. There's lots of little white fuzzies everywhere. So we're just out here in the flying area with young Albert. He's still on his crayons line for the time being, just till we're 100% sure he is ready. But I think today's probably going to be his last day on it because he is doing absolutely brilliant. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to walk him towards the post. Whenever he's ready, he will either jump onto it or sometimes we'll just place him down. There we are. He'll get himself nice and comfy on there. And then I'm just going to start his training. Albert. Good boy. So gradually, as our training session progresses, we are just going to keep moving further and further back, extending the length of his flights as we go. And all we're looking for is that recall being quite quick off the mark. Because he's only a youngster, he does like to spend a little bit of time getting used to it, but as you can tell, he's a little bit more on the ball than I am. Sorry mister, was that a little bit slow for you there? And all he's getting as we are flying him is little bits of cut up day old chick, or we tend to vary it day in, day out. Some days he does get cut up bits of mice as well. We tend to actually prefer, because he's still quite young, to keep him on the little mice rations. And at the end of his training session, he does get a big full reward as well to go and eat in his aviary with his sister. Good boy. You're doing ever so well today, aren't you, Mr. Day? So as we keep going, we're just going to keep extending the distance. changing direction and things, making sure he gets to know the full perimeter of our flying area and gets completely used to everything that's going on around him. So after this training session today, he has done absolutely amazing. I think we are going to get both him and his sister free tomorrow because there's not a problem whatsoever with their recall. They're both, well, absolutely on it, which is brilliant. And then they're just going to get used to flying together. They are kept together all the time anyway. And after his training session, we'll bring his sister out, do exactly the same with her. But they are both ready to go free tomorrow, I think. You don't need your training line anymore, do you, mister?
You recording? Have you got that one in sharp? Come back here. You alright, guys? Stop recording.